Hello, and welcome to the 6 o'clock news on CWTV, Civil War Television. Tonight's top story. Yesterday, men were executed for their parts in the conspiracy to assassinate Union leaders. Up next, we have a reenactment of these events.
In 1865, John Wilkes Booth, an actor and Confederate sympathizer, targeted 3 people to be assassinated on April 14th with the help of Lewis Powell, George Atzerodt, and David Harold. These 3 targets were President Abraham Lincoln, Secretary of State William Seward, and Vice President Andrew Johnson. By removing the president and the 2 immediate successors to the presidency of the Union, he hoped to throw it into disarray, which would make victory for the Confederacy more likely. On the night of April 14th, Lincoln went to see the play Our American Cousin at Ford's Theater with Major Henry Rathbone and their wives. Lincoln's bodyguard left the play during the intermission and never returned, leaving the president exposed. At around 10:15 p.m., during a moment of laughter during the play, Booth raced forward from the back of the box and shot Lincoln in the back of the head with his .44 caliber handgun. He scuffled briefly with Major Rathbone, who got stabbed in the arm during the struggle. Booth left the theater and rode away to meet David Harold, who escaped with him to Virginia. The authorities found them, and Booth was killed in a shootout by Sergeant Boston Corbett. At the same time as the Lincoln assassination, Lewis Powell was going to Secretary Seward's house to kill him. Seward was bedridden with a broken jaw, a few cracked ribs, and a broken arm after his carriage accident 9 days earlier. Powell entered the house saying that he was delivering medicine. Secretary Seward's son, Frederick, became suspicious, saying that his father was sleeping. Powell then pulled out his revolver and pointed it at Frederick's head, pulling the trigger. The gun didn't fire. Panicking, Powell beat Frederick with the gun, leaving the gun useless and Frederick in critical condition. Powell then entered the secretary's dark bedroom and began to stab him. Only the dark and his neck brace prevented Seward from being killed. His neck was protected. On Powell's 3rd stab, he slashed through Seward's cheek, but that was the worst of the damage. Seward fell to the floor, and Powell fled. George Atzerodt was assigned to kill Vice President Andrew Johnson. He went to the hotel where Johnson was staying and asked some questions pertaining to Johnson's whereabouts and itinerary. However, he apparently lost his nerve, got drunk, and ended up roaming the streets of D.C. David Harold, Lewis Powell, and George Atzerodt were all hanged on July 7, 1865 for their parts in the conspiracy.